and welcome to today's episode. Today we're taking the question from Ruth Kolo, who is based here in Abuja. She runs an SEO company and she would like to know if our side by side advisors have some lessons that they've learned from running their businesses and if they can share one or two and how it has really helped them, grow and also navigate through their business. So I'll start with you, Zainab. What are the things that you look back on now and you're like, if only I knew this when I started?
Okay. So first, I would say I wish I had like a payment plan in place. So in terms of like, clients at the time would just they get their items and just not give you your money. So in the beginning when you usually have family and friends that buy from you, so
Yeah.
they take advantage of that and just not pay. I have some bad debts from my first year that people
Oh, wow.
still haven't paid. So I wish I had that in place. And then I also wish I did not beat myself up too much. So in the sense that, I made mistakes along the way and sometimes I'll just ponder too much on that mistake and I keep beating myself up and not move on from there. So now I know if I make a mistake, it's just fix it and move on. So life goes on. And
Interesting. And I feel like experience teaches you that because this is like your 8th year running Pink Flow, right?
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I'm sure when you make a mistake, you're like, oh my
I
God, what was
can't
wrong
believe
with
I
me?
did that. Yeah.
Right? But now you realize that mistakes
It's part of the
Yeah,
business.
and
And also
to be
nobody
honest,
dies.
yes.
Like you think the consequences
it's
are
as
what
bad.
yeah, but you realize
Yes.
a few times that
Yeah, that it's okay. And then
Yeah.
so
But with the payment plan, I mean, I'd love to know like a little more about that. Like how do you think that would have helped with family and friends? Because that's such a touchy part of business,
yeah,
right?
so like when they place an order, for example, if it's a custom make order, just say, oh, you have to pay at least 80% before we
Before
do
you
the
send.
order.
I
And
see.
that
I
really
see.
just protects me because if not, I go ahead at the end of the week, I'll still have to pay my tailors whether or not they
actually
pay me
paid
or not. Yeah,
True,
so
true.
it's good to have that in place. I just let them know that this is just our policy, and if you don't pay, I just don't do it. Don't do it.
I
Yeah.
see. Wow, that's quite brave. So I'm coming to you, Coach Steph, right? You have like, I feel like layers of lessons to share with Ruth. So because you are also in the service industry, so what are those things that you know now that you're like, if only I had taken the time to do them better, or now I know how to do them.
Okay, so yes, so being in the service industry, I guess the nuances are slightly, different, or actually a whole lot different because at the delivery of our product, which is a service, right, involves close interaction with the clients, as opposed to just go do, come back, etc. One thing that I know definitely that if I had stuck to in the beginning, was setting and sticking to boundaries. So these are my working hours. This is when, and also it's covered in things like agreements as well. So these are my working hours. From the minute you pay us, this is how long till you get, depending on what type of work it is, a first draft of something or our next meeting or, that's what, and sticking to that no matter what, because there's that, sometimes you feel like, oh, if I don't, maybe the clients will not be happy, or, just wanting to do that people pleasing. But apart from even managing your own energy, I'm a professional. You came to me, like, you don't go to the doctor and tell him what your problem, like what's the illness. You tell him what your symptoms are, right?
Yeah, but you don't tell him
And
the
he
illness.
has to know. So if I'm the consultant and I know what I'm talking about, I know what I can do for you. So I will set the terms and respect those terms so that my client too can respect it. So that also means even if I may be working on the client's, task or whatever at midnight, if I have a question, I will hold it till daytime just to set those boundaries and keep it. If I say that I'm going to give an update at a time, I also keep to my word because you want that mutual respect. So different things, but boundaries and sticking it's very, very important because especially because I started off at quite a younger age. So there's also, if you're not at the Nigerian factor, people wanting to just also treat me. They want to enter the boundaries of, you are my daughter. So I don't do the whole, good afternoon, ma, mommy this, like it's Mrs. this or Madam that or
Yeah.
Mr. this. Like you are not my father, you are not, because it really changes the dynamics. And when it's
does.
time to pay you,
Yeah.
you owe your daughter now. You feel like it's your daughter, I'll pay her, you know. So you must maintain that professionalism as well. Another thing as well is I should have been more intentional with finding mentors. But there were factors that affected that, such as I used to, I had a lot of people judging why I would leave my top paid job in the UK with what they felt was huge, prospects, earning in foreign currency. And you want to come back and say you're consulting for SMEs, like, well, what are you doing? Where, it's almost like making you feel like you're throwing your life away. But I had a clear, well, not so clear then, but I knew where I wanted to get to. And I was very ruthless about it. So it kind of hindered me going to mentors because I almost felt like I knew what they would tell me. But in hindsight, I realized I should have sought some guy. I would have not made certain mistakes. It would have opened certain doors because I never worked in Nigeria. I have friends here. I come home often, but the dynamics are totally different in that workspace. So those are two main things.
Nigeria is special.
It's
Everything
very
is
special.
different.
And the age thing is such. I would go into meetings
and nobody
and
would
I
take you
look
seriously.
10 years younger than I actually am. So I already, did you just graduate? Did you just? I came back to Nigeria almost like more than 5 years after graduation. So people just look at like, I just delivered a wonderful pitch. You're not judging me based on what I said. All you've just been thinking is, how old are you, sir?
Yep.
And many times I had to put my foot down and just like, I don't think that's the context. Well, I don't need to answer that.
Exactly.
I'm coming from a place where meritocracy is important. So did the presentation convince you or not? If not, let me
all
carry
we're talking
myself.
about.
That's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
So also, especially for us, maybe as women, sometimes it can be a thing. And that wouldn't necessarily happen like that with men. So as a woman, I don't have to explain that to you. It's not the conversation on the table. So you learn to stand your ground a bit more and don't allow people emotionally blackmail you. It comes with the service business, and they will do it more because you're a woman, you're a nurturer. They expect you to understand. But
I mean, I make the argument that how many of us are nurturers these days? But that's a conversation.
no, but you say that it
But
may
we're
not look.
natural nurture,
Yeah, it may
like
not look in
naturally.
the sense of home carer, but if someone comes to you and tells you, this has happened, they've kicked me out of my house, you'll feel something.
Yeah.
Whereas
As
a guy
opposed
might
to
just be
man.
like, oh yeah, okay, well
Sorry,
maybe
They
I'll
won't
give you a
even go
week.
to.
I'll give you a week. I mean, I'll be there thinking maybe I shouldn't ask again because so it's and it all goes back to when you are clear on what you're trying to build, then you just know some things that you can't let some things fly. So it's people skills, but it's also learning to not allow people to take you for a month because they'll try.
Okay,
So, yeah.
great. I think just to wrap up everything that has been said, Ruth, I feel like you have so much to take away from this particular episode. But of course, managing people is key. Setting boundaries is very, very important. Having a payment plan, especially when dealing with family and friends, is key. And also be intentional about the type of mentors that you actually cultivate and allow to speak into your life. Like I said, so much to take away from this, and I really look forward to you sharing feedback with us after you have taken into action what you have been told. Thank you so much for your question, Ruth, and for anyone else who has actually learned from this, I look forward to your feedback and comments as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, and bye for now.